Through Her Eyes, How to Overcome Adversity and Learn to Let Go. Read by the author, NatashaJohn-Baptiste. Healing takes time. It is beautiful when we are ready to embrace a new us, casting off any burden or chain that may have bound us. What a wonderful thing it is when we choose to let go and cast away all the things that no longer serve us and keep us a victim to the past. We no longer refuse to let go, but choose to go on emancipated. Through Her Eyes, forward. Why write this book, you may ask, as well as pondering upon the title Through Her Eyes. Being a student of psychology, as well as a humanist survivor, optimist, and a woman with an intention to empower others, it is reasonable that an author will see life primarily from their own perspective. It is only the perception of one individual that can divulge the analogies that represent that single person's life. The experiences that each individual experiences upon their own life's journey will always be from a different window view to others. As we will go on to see through the memory of a child, adolescent, and young woman who has suffered childhood trauma into adulthood, although observation may be skewed or blurred through limited vision, perception, and a narrow understanding, making the events real to the individual as they see it. We all see things from our own viewpoints and personal encounters with the said things that we have faced and continue to face. No one can say who is right or who is wrong in any given situation. Opinion is subjective. We all have a story to tell. Here is mine. My voice matters. I lost my voice and went blind with it nearly 2 decades ago. Through my journey of being mute, I had to dig deep within myself and found elements of me that I did not know existed. My voice was more than a sound that came through the vibration of a voice box. My voice is my creativity, imagination, and showing parts of me that were not frequency, but colour. My inspiration helped me to find a voice that had been lost, yet somehow found new meaning, something that could be shared, an internal voice, not the one of negativity that told me you're a bad mother, you're ugly, you're no good, and so much more. That was not my voice at all, because a new voice that now empowered me said encouraging things, or words such as, you're inspirational, you got this, go and do you. Wow. I realised my voice really mattered. I could speak up and make a difference. So today I stand with gratitude, progressing forward into the light, emitting the strongest rays of illumination, shining from the highest mountain. Yes, my voice matters because I am me. There is no other who can be the person that has been renewed to a transformed version of a better version of myself. Now that's amazing. It's not always been this way. I've worked so hard for a long while. My career was soaring like that of an eagle, and whilst not having any consideration for the past, I was having the time of my life. Work enabled me to travel abroad almost every weekend, and sometimes during the week. We travelled to exotic places to entertain royalty, members of parliament, celebrities, and even the so-called rabble. I used to tell the bank teller on the Monday morning about my adventures. I'm not sure if she believed me and the ramblings of the weekend that I had just experienced. Come to think of it, those trips were so ostentatious and, as a matter of fact, quite unbelievable. I don't think anyone would have really believed the events because those days were just so magical. I have the memories and pictures to prove it all. At that particular time, I had been working with 2 of the top function bands in London. We were doing extraordinarily well. We were at our grind most of the week, as well as gigging on a regular basis. Being creative played a major part of my life. We would have late night sessions in the studio, writing songs and laying them down, having the opportunity to work with some of the top producers in the capital at the time. Not realising how much of an opportunity all of this was, having the chance to be signed to multiple record labels such as Big Life and Rank Records, who were topping the charts with a new sound called Junglist. I had just signed a recording contract with BMG, a major record label. This was a big deal. I was working on some fine projects and happy to be part of it all. Life was looking so optimistic. I was riding a wave. It seemed as though nothing could go wrong. That is, until bad news came. There was a death in the family, the catalyst to our world falling apart. My husband fell to pieces, his brothers were not on speaking terms, and an even worse plight. There was in-house fighting and pilfering amongst some family members due to rumours circulating after a wedding. Their mother was not even cold dead in the ground, and all hell was breaking loose. This was having a big impact on my immediate family, as we were stuck in the middle of bitterness and grief. It was the wives of the brothers, you see. There was some kind of misunderstanding, and what was once a realm of camaraderie and togetherness had now turned into best friends becoming arch enemies. Even down to this day, 20 years later, the feud continues. Did you know that we only hurt ourselves when we hold a grudge against somebody else? In fact, holding a grudge can have much further reaching and devastating effects. This is because it is like poison that absorbs into every part of the body, consuming the victim to death. When we hold a grudge, it takes a lot of energy to maintain those negative emotions, as we have to hold on to the bitterness, anger, and resentment to remain in such an unforgiving state will only impact on the individual holding the resentment, resulting in weaknesses physically. It may seem like a hard thing to do, but letting go and moving on is the only cure for this. Whatever we do in life, even in the small things, it is a constant practice. If we practice an art, be it singing, painting, or dancing, on a daily basis, we thus master the craft. It's the same if we practice holding a burden or a grudge. When we display unforgiveness and hate, we become good at that too. If we know people or have friendships that harbour any signs of a grudge, this needs to be quashed and addressed as soon as possible. If the person does not want to let go and fix what seems to be a burden to them, then we need to walk away from what could eventually turn into a toxic environment. This is why it's fundamental to take check on ourselves and the role that we play in our relationships. Firstly, the most important relationship we should all try and maintain is the one that we have with ourselves. Secondly, is the relationship that we have with other people. We can have lasting and positive impact with everyone that we come into contact with. Watch from the wings. It takes no time, if we are observant enough, that is, to see how the people that we acquaint ourselves with treat others. Overall, if required, be a soul that can function quite easily without the need of validation from other people. Be a person who forgives easily. There are no winners on either side of a grudge. Be the bigger person. Also remember that it is all right to walk alone. We do not always need to have an entourage to make our way through life. Keep in mind that if we choose to walk alone, that we are in the best company, that is, the best of ourselves. Our mindset, heart set, along with our soul set, enables us to function at a high level of self-awareness and understanding. This means that when we take time out to reflect on every ounce of our being, getting to know what makes us function at the levels that we do, what makes us happy, what makes us sad, what takes us out of a happy state, and what puts us into a happy frame of mind. Do not confuse self-awareness with selfishness and ignorance. The opposite of this is to be self-absorbed. When we become self-absorbed, this dulls our emotions and thus can lead us to overlooking the people around us. This may block out natural exchanges that are necessary to function in healthy relationships. Another danger is that of internalizing our hurt. Even so, though it may seem to those around us that we are functioning as ordinary, they may not recognise our pain. My husband did this and began to lick his wounds in secret, leaving me out in the cold alone. He did not speak much and carried his hurt and pain around as baggage for a long time. This in turn led down a path of depression. It began to take over me, and for some strange reason my voice stopped working. From then on, I began to speak into existence a lie that I lived for more than 16 years. My life hung in the balance, and I tried to take it. Come with me on a journey where I will tell you how overcoming experiences of despair, loneliness, abandonment, and many other traumatic incidences moulded me into the person that I am today. Every negative mark can be erased once we have the right tools to combat those demons that may plague and frighten us into submission. Being human gives us the opportunity to rise above whatever life throws at us, giving the pains and unforeseen circumstances a kick up the arse, enabling us to move into brighter and sunnier terrain. It's an ebb and flow that is life. How do we rise up to the challenge? We all have the survival instinct, so how do we use it? Go the distance and have the will to survive. Eye of the tiger.